If you want to become that girl in school, but every single video you watch just makes you feel even more behind, this video is for you. Being that girl isn't about having a 5 a.m. routine, the perfect social life, and never ever falling behind. It's about 3 things that nobody really talks about: how you manage your social energy, how you approach school without burning out, and how you stop treating balance like another thing you're failing. Let's talk about all of these 3 things. Number 1 is friends. Friends are what makes school special, okay? It is arguably the sole thing that makes school fun, right? But I want to remind you that it's not about your popularity, okay? I feel like a lot of us, especially in high school, tend to get stuck up on being everyone's friend and knowing the most amount of people. And I'm here to remind you that it's about depth, not breadth, okay? You don't want to force closeness upon people who are just not meant for you. It's actually impossible to be friends with everyone and to vibe with everyone and to like everyone. Like, if you vibe with everyone, you're basically a lot of personalities and a lot of personas living in one body. First of all, we need to let go of that need to be liked by everyone. And I think that's how you really channel your most authentic self. And as someone who's tried both, I'm telling you, it's so much more free and it's so much happier to have a couple of close friends that know who you are and accept you for who you are, instead of having 30 surface level friends. Like, when you're choosing your friends or choosing who you hang out with, I think it's really important to not just choose like how fun it is to be with someone, because honestly it's not that hard to have fun, like if you're in the right like place at the right time, but rather choosing someone who makes you feel safe, who makes you feel like you're not being judged for your weird quirks or your actions. But with the overall picture of just showing up in school socially, 2 things that I want to remind you is confidence and authenticity. Confidence can be felt. Confidence is walking into a room and not feeling scared or intimidated by other people's presence, not because you're cocky and arrogant, but because you understand that you can be worth something and exist in your own capacity, and simultaneously someone else can also be shining their light, right? Confidence is coming from abundance and not competition. Okay. And I feel like I could definitely talk more about that in a whole separate video, but I think it's really important to build confidence so that you're not always trying to impress others, which directly links to my next point, which is authenticity. Authenticity is way more attractive than being a people pleaser will ever be. Okay, but more than that, it is what keeps you happy, right? Being true to who you are is what is gonna let you survive and thrive the most in school. Authenticity means being unapologetically yourself and not caring at all about what people are gonna think of that. Because at the end of the day, these people are just people. Like, in a couple of years, you are gonna be like living halfway across the world to people. You're not going to talk to each other anymore. So why not just be yourself and show up how you would show up if no one was there, and see who is willing to meet you halfway. I think that you should definitely be open to making new friends. I think school is the easiest environment to make friends, but I want to highlight how important it is to understand or recognize when someone is just not valuing your worth, you know? Like, you can always be making up excuses for people's actions, especially if you are an empathetic or open-minded person. But like, it's really important to distinguish between, like, did that person just not hear what you said, or were they just ignoring you and doesn't really care at all, right? And obviously that's just an example. But with all of the different elements that you have to balance during these years, chasing someone and trying to get someone to be friends with you is just not worth your time. Like, I assure you, someone will want to be friends with you and will have the same interests that you do. So don't waste your time trying to get like self-obsessed, arrogant people to like you. Or honestly, sometimes it's not that deep. Like, it's okay to not like vibe with someone. There will be someone else out there. Being that girl with friends isn't about being the most social, it's about being real and open. And once I stopped trying to be everything to everyone, that's when I had more time to myself. That leads me to my next point, which is academics. Because let's face it, your grades are important, and obviously they shouldn't define your whole self-worth and identity, but they are the reason why you're in school. Like, that's to learn stuff. But I just want to remind you that you can totally thrive in school without burnout. I definitely have romanticized like staying up late or waking up really early to grind for like tests, drinking a ton of caffeine, like doing things last minute, but you can totally do well, if not exceptional, without having to sacrifice your own. And it's really important to kind of maintain discipline and consistency even when your motivation is low. Okay, let us let go of this mentality that it's all or nothing when it comes to academics. Because with your busy schedule and your emotions and changing hormones, some days will just be maintenance days, and you have to accept that. The most important thing I feel like is to try and to show up, to be curious intellectually. Being focused on trying to understand information and knowledge, and trying to make the most of your time and resources rather than just grades. Also, I don't know why my voice is like so fry today. Now, with that said, effort only works if you're not burning yourself out trying to prove something. So let's talk about the third and last pillar that you need to be that girl in school: balance. Oh my gosh, the amount of people who don't talk about this is insane to me. But let me just paint you a picture, okay? Hear me out on my analogy. I think a lot of people are aware of what F1 is, and that is race cars. I'm not an F1 expert, so I apologize if I'm not explaining it 100% correctly. But for those cars to be going around and around and reaching these top speeds, they need to have those pit stops, right? Without pit stops, the tires will break down and the engines will wear out, okay? So the stops are necessary for you to reach your potential. My point is, it's important to be disciplined. It's important to put in the work, but don't let rigid rules and packed schedules stop you from enjoying your time at school. Sometimes this means choosing to sleep rather than grind homework, okay? Balance is not like black and white. It's something that like evolves and changes honestly all the time. Some weeks you might need more rest than usual, and some weeks you're flying ahead and your brain is just like in flow state, and that is totally okay and normal. Like, please remember that like we're all so young, and it's okay to feel that pressure. Like, obviously you can't help it. I just want to remind you that it's important to take a rest as well, and you will never reach the top speed or reach your destination if you're constantly putting a lot of pressure on your engines in your car or whatever, right? Balance is not about doing everything perfectly and constantly. It is about knowing when to reserve your energy and also having fun with the process. Now, we're all still learning on how to be that girl. Not the one that's perfect, but the one that keeps showing up and keeps trying. Until next time, keep trying your best, because that's more than enough. And I'll see you in the next video.